Oh yeah. Behind me is an all-new dual-cab ute, but this ute is a bit different from the others you might see on the road because it's actually wearing an MG badge, and it's the Chinese brand's first ute model in Australia. It's trying to be a bit different from the HiLux, the Rangers and the D-Maxes that you see out there, so come with me and I'll show you exactly what makes this car so special. In terms of pricing, MG Australia set expectations high, so they could reveal a lower than anticipated figure. Revealed at the launch event, the MG U9 kicks off at $52,990 drive away for the base Explore variant, moves up to $55,990 for the Explore X, and tops out at $60,990 for the Explore Pro. As standard, there are features like keyless entry, push-button start, dual-zone climate control, and a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. While the Explore Pro we have here scores heated and cooled front seats, 64-colour interior ambient lighting, and genuine leather interior. Only the top-spec U9 was available to sample during the launch event, but this price range makes the U9 competitive against mid-spec versions of the Ford Ranger, Toyota HiLux, and Isuzu D-Max. The cheapest U9 also undercuts the mechanically related LDV Terron 9, which is available from $53,674. One of the differences between the LDV Terron 9 and the MG U9 is styling. MG fits this grid-like front grille, which matches really well with the butch and muscular appearance of the car overall. That butch appearance really continues down into the rear as well. There are really high sides for the tub, and you've got really chunky tail lights that really add to the muscular appearance. MG has also spruiked a unique fold-down midgate that can extend the tray's load floor, at the expense of the rear seats of course, but this feature is only available to the top-spec Explore Pro, and it's an option that will add $5,500 to the asking price. As standard, however, the tray size measures 1,600mm long and 1,230mm between the wheel arches, making the fitment of an Australian pallet possible. The other much talked about feature is the U9's two-step tailgate, which lets you access the tray with a push of a button, while another deploys the midsection of the panel that then lets you fold down a step. Sadly, this feature is again locked only to the top-spec U9 Explore Pro, but it is standard rather than an option. Inside the U9, there's a very well appointed cabin. You've got soft touch points all over the steering wheel, the armrest, and there's even a massive 12.3-inch infotainment unit. And that infotainment system, it feels snappy, fast, and fluid with all the functionality that you would expect out of a new model in 2025. There's sat-nav, at least in the top two spec grades, but you've also got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto throughout the range. The one gripe I can level at this car in here is the shifter design. Now, it's meant to mimic sort of an aircraft throttle, but it ends up feeling a little bit flimsy to me, at least. And the parking button is positioned in a very strange place. I would have liked it sort of somewhere near my thumb, and you can't really rest your hand here while you're driving. In the back seat, there's plenty of room for adults, even 186cm tall ones like myself. I'm sat behind my driving position and there's plenty of leg and shoulder room. And because this car is so wide, you can easily fit 3 passengers here abreast. However, headroom could be a little bit better, but that's because this top spec car comes fitted with a sunroof, which eats into headspace just a little bit. Under the bonnet, you'll find a 2.5-litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine producing 160 kilowatts and 520 newton meters. That's more than you'll see in some other rivals. And paired to this engine is an 8-speed automatic transmission with a permanent all-wheel drive system. So behind the wheel of the MG U9, you actually do notice how much bigger it is than a regular dual cab ute like a HiLux or a Ranger. Because the dimensions are more expansive, it means you have to be a little bit more careful when placing all 4 of the corners. It could make it a little bit tricky to weave this car in and out of traffic, navigating inner city streets, but out here on the open road, well, the space is welcome. And powering all that, of course, is that 2.5-litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder engine. With 160 kilowatts and 520 newton meters, it's ample oomph to get this car going. And paired to that engine is a tried and true ZF Source 8-speed automatic transmission, which can really shift the gears smoothly and seamlessly. The transmission never gets in the way. You're always in the right gear to find the torque band that you need, no matter the conditions. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the independent rear suspension.
While other utes in this class will use a solid rear axle and leaf springs, this has a multi-link setup with coils. And what that means is that it promises to be a little bit more comfortable on the road and in light off-roading conditions like this, driving more like an SUV rather than a light commercial vehicle. Does it work? Yeah, it does. I'm pretty comfortable in these light off-roading conditions. There's not too much jostling and jolting around in the cabin, even though I'm going over some sizable bumps and humps. The trade-off here though is that when you have weight in the back, well, it might not handle that as well, but I have done a little bit of towing in this car and it handles that pretty well too. And even though the MG U9 has got an independent rear suspension, it's got enough off-road tricks up its sleeve to handle some pretty tough terrain. For starters, there's low range gearing, as well as a front and rear differential locker in this top spec car. You've also got a smorgasbord of off-road driving modes, including for conditions like mud, snow, and sand, which will adjust all the settings accordingly. The best part though, there's an all-terrain monitor, so at certain speeds, using the surround view monitor, you've got an all-round view of what the car is doing ahead of you and underneath you. Keep in mind though, the MG U9 has a wading depth of only 550 millimeters, which is a little bit under what some of the competitors will offer. I have to check the stats. I don't think the approach and departure angles are all that great in this car, considering the fact that I've bottomed it out a few times in this track.
Checking those stats, the approach, departure and ramp breakover angles are 29, 25 and 20 degrees respectively, which are fine for a car of this class. More of a concern, however, are the payload figures, which range from 770 kilos in this top spec Explorer Pro up to 870 kilos in the base Explorer.
All in all, the MG U9 Ute seems like a more cohesive package than some other Utes that you might be able to buy on market right now. During the week, it's going to be a fairly comfortable, quiet commuter to get you to work and back Monday to Friday. And on the weekend, you can take it to the beach, take it to a fishing spot, or take it off-roading, and it will handle some pretty gnarly stuff as well. If you want to get down and dirty, the MG U9 will do it. And it'll do it pretty well too.
I reckon MG are onto a winner here. If you want a big and spacious dual cab ute that ticks all the boxes and ticks them all pretty well, this U9 is going to do it. And when you factor in that really affordable price, well, I reckon you're going to see a fair few of these out on the roads.